Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here, and I'm hoping to make someone's birthday month with a bunch of purple lusciousness. I had this video sitting on deck from a stencil hop that was last month. Finally got around to finishing it because I am hoping to make somebody's birthday month with this. We both have a love of purple, and she follows me on Instagram and I follow her back, and when she saw this card, I knew it had to go to her. So Mari, I hope you're still loving it. Anyway, here's how I did it. So I started out with a background layer of rice paper because I love that stuff. I used my Mod Podge to set it down, and you can see that I started with it in a really careful way because I needed to get the corner set straight, because you can't bring this up. You can't tear it up. It will just rip. It's so fine, right? Once it was dry with the Mod Podge, and you do that underneath and on the top, and that sets it onto your paper panel, you can just use regular cardstock. You don't need to use any heavy watercolor one. I got out the Ranger's Distress crayons in the pearlescent and the purple tones, and I did around the corner, and then you smudge it out with your finger. You can also use some water droplets on it. Now, I knew that I was going to have a bunch of layers over top of this, so I wasn't too concerned about how this under layer looked. So this is where I am using some of the purple tone inks, bringing in around the outside edges to give it a little bit of that burnishing, a little bit of that distressing look. And then I am grabbing out the Altenew Friendship Flower stamp, which is one of my favorites. We've seen me use this a few other times, but it's so versatile and I love it. So I have overstamped that over top of our rice paper panel in a purple ink. And because it was an oxide, it picked up this clear embossing powder that I was putting down on it. I'm tapping the rest off very carefully. This is where my long thumbnails come into action and really help out, because I can use them as like claw pincers to hold the panel. So once that was embossed, I started in with the stencil layers, and I think this one has got about 6. There's about 4.5 for the flowers and about 1.5 for the leaves. So of course, because I wanted this card to be purple, I'm starting out with the purple layers, and then I'm deepening it each layer that it comes up, and the leaves as well too. I wanted them to sort of be purple, a bit sort of green at the same time, wiping things off so that I don't mix the inks as it's going down. I also brought in some paper glitz to use for the centers of the flowers. And then, let's see. Oh, yes. We're going to put some Distress Spritz Spray over top, and then we're going to put some Solar Spray over top. And this is one of the few stamps and stencil sets that I know of that has actually got that negative layer where you can get the background on it. It does unfortunately put a rectangle around it, but you can compensate for that by going in after and rebrushing. Now, I also grabbed out the Lots of Dots stencil from All & Create, because that is one of my favorites. All & Create has such good stencils. They're quite thick. They're laser cut. They're really great. And I put the crackle paste down on it, and then I put embossing glazes in the purple tones and maroon tones over top of that. You can see that I'm setting it. Now I'm going to work on the inside of the card. So I have got down my masking tape there. It's low tack, so it won't rip the card up. And that's just to protect that other side so that I don't over stencil onto it. So I'm using the leftover ink that is on my blending brushes, and I'm using that for the stencil. Again, for both of those to repeat the unity on the inside of the card. Then we are using the A Million Reasons stamps from Close to My Heart. We're putting a custom stamp on the back of it, and we're going to jump back to the panel now that it's had a chance to kind of flatten out and dry a little bit more. And I thought it needed a bit of deepening around the edges, again bringing in more ink. This is quite a dark purple on this one, and now I've got it a little bit more where I want it, so I am putting some ultra sticky tape on the back, and I have found that that really does help me to prevent the curling that I get from glue, because I'm an over adheser. So then I restamped another panel and got out the Alt New Friendship Flowers die sets. I quite often like cutting my dies out first before I stencil so that I don't mess up all that work after I've gone to the trouble of stenciling all the colors. So this is a second set of flowers that we are doing with this. And you're going to see that I'm going to layer them up on the front more as focal points because we've got a bunch of effects happening with those glazes and the Mod Podge and all the other stuff, distress spritzers in the background, so it's much more muted. These ones are going to be quite clear once we get them set down. And so just repeating this process again with the purples and the greens, wiping my stencil off to prevent contamination. Let's see, of course, yay, thumbnails. And again, bringing in the paper clips. Just gives it a little pop right in the center there, you know. And then the solar paste. Both of those were in yellow tones. Again, just a little shine, a little glimmer, a little bit of bling bling. And peel and reveal. There we are. Now, I wanted to have these in not the spots that originally the dies were. So, hey, it's totally fine to cut your die cuts apart, which is what I've done. And I'm squashing it down, making certain it's really set into all that texture that we've got on the background. Cutting off the excess on the outside. I did have some left over, and you can see that I thought that would go perfectly on the inside of the card once I decide where I'm going to put it down. Had one little flower left over, had to pop him on the front. Now this is the Simon Says Stamp Oh Hello There die set. I'm only using a portion out of it. I've got this cut out, and I'm going to do it in a couple of layers because I did the background layer. You can see I'm putting it down into spot here so that I can glue them better together. So I kept the negative piece that was cut out of. I put it back in, put glue over top, and then I put the other layers over top of that. So once that background layer is stacked up, I put some purple solar paste over it, and it would shine through. And then when I grabbed my yellow out, which is yellow cardstock that I cut that out of, I offset it so that we've got a shiny layer in the back and the yellow layer in the front. And we're going to set that down on a diagonal because that is kind of the flow that we've got through the card. And here's where I am trying to decide where I'm going to put my Nouveau Jewel and Crystal drops down. And you can, have you seen me put any down yet? We're going to do you notice that I've got like purple ones? Oh yes, we have purple ones. And that's the finished card, everybody. So it's a whole bunch of purple nummy lusciousness, and it makes me happy, and I'm happy that it went to someone that also loves purple as much as I do. So you guys all go out and do some good stuff too. Be that change you want to see. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.